Speaking of reeling people in, apparently Bigfoot has been throwing some person bait at people. But apparently this was back in
1977.
1977. There was a Bigfoot sighting that was local for us. So local being that we are broadcasting from the beautiful Union Building in downtown Anderson, Indiana.
As you can see from backgrounds.
Yeah. That is not a green screen behind Topher. That is actually just a standard background. So
yeah, that literally is.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, he's broadcasting from a remote location. So we're going to be. Hang on a second. Let me just. Chris, your mic's a little. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, it literally looks like
that's movie magic, folks.
It literally looks like we are in a completely different. Like our studio is very, very illuminated, and Topher's is just
perfectly subdued.
Yeah.
Well, no, the funny part is like I'm on the one wall that's painted black.
Yeah, well, so that actually just kind of confirms that we need to get these walls painted black. So
I see that red wall and I need to paint it black.
I mean, technically, with the light cast, it is kind of red.
I know,
so
right?
That's perfect.
Exactly.
All right, so
we need to block the windows, paint the walls.
Well, there's a lot of work we have to do, and a lot of that work costs money, folks, which is why we're so pathetically begging you to become a member of our website. Please.
Look at this face. Don't say no to this face. Everybody else does. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Oh, thank God it wasn't actually focused on him when he did that. All right.
And so, nobody joins.
1977 Bigfoot sighting in, where at, Chris?
All right. So what it was in 1977, according to the newspaper.
AD, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So the things we'll be talking about tonight.
Like it happened within the last 50 years. Which is ridiculous that it's like 50. Like you're
Can
looking.
We just move on because I want to talk about it?
I still think like, oh, that was like 30 years ago. No,
it was not.
But the so in 1977, according to the newspaper, a lady was driving home after dropping her husband off at work, along a stretch right next to the dump. So think like a big open area with a lot of like food waste and other stuff.
Right.
And animals and rats and
grody.
I thought we could make it 5 minutes into the show without making a poop joke, but apparently Chris
we can't.
Had to jump. Topher had to jump in there.
That wasn't that was actually not a poop joke. That was just a reference to it.
That's fair.
So go ahead.
So copies of our show. Got it. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. So when literally right by the landfill, next to a waterway, which I'm not sure why they would put a landfill right next to a creek that literally fed like water in that area, but I digress.
It's that's the same reason.
A topic for another show.
It's literally the same reason they put a landfill anywhere.
It's fair.
Yeah, but so she said that she was driving down there. She called the Indiana State Police. The Indiana State Police took the thing.
The report?
The report.
Okay.
Along with an Alexandria police officer. That police officer actually got made fun of because, according to people that I talked to, he was, after that, got the call for all of the weird things that happened in town, automatically went to him. Like,
so like any of the spooky supernatural,
like when the marching band saw a UFO.
Wait,
like he went out and took
that happen?
That's awesome.
78.
So 77 they got Bigfoot, 78 they have UFOs, and that.
In 1950s they also have a UFO sighting in Anderson.
He's a paranormal investigator now, right?
Yeah, no, apparently, yeah. You know. But no, they would make fun of him and all that. And
well, I mean, it's the 70s. I can understand it.
Yeah. So, but so she made the thing. A DNR like shows up, whatever, and they literally in the article, like you have the article with the stuff, like the the actual call log or whatever,
Right.
you know, the crime blotter thing. So it's talking about that, and then in the next article it's talking about how they're still investigating whatever, and then like the DNR says that we don't have any big animals like that in the area. We don't have any. There's no
There's no
stuff.
bears.
Right. But there is a horse that is known to get loose and walk around the area, and that they were suspecting it was the backside of a horse.
Okay.
They-
well, in
They
fairness,
literally blamed it, saying it was probably a horse's ass.
perfect. I was just you got the joke before I did because I was right there. All right. So,
This is the beginning.
this is the intro to the story.
Yes.
Oh.
So this happened. Now, people are in this town talking back and forth about, some people believe it's happening, some people don't believe it's happening.
Sure.
I'm the skeptic, so I'm like,
right,
maybe
there
she
is
was
like-
actually looking at the tail end of it because that actually kind of makes sense. It's a fluffy, the stringy hair.
Right, but it's not 8 foot tall. That would be a huge horse.
Well,
the
if it's-
backside was
Actually, it could have been a Clydesdale.
Okay, it was a moose.
yeah.
It was the only moose in Indiana.
It escaped from the
Moose.
petting zoo.
No,
Moose.
it escaped. It escaped from Canada. It's an illegal immigrant.
So I'm talking to the people, like
I
reminiscing.
smell a
whatever.
sitcom, by the way.
There you go.
No, I'm
So I'm
sorry,
talking
that
to
was
everybody
me.
about this and trying to get people moving and like getting getting people to tell me the stories and whatnot. And a lot of them are just like, oh yeah, I remember that happened. That was
Right.
like it was just a horse, or it was this, or it was that. It was people like, they had like casts of feet prints, like, eventually, because this isn't the first time that has been rumored
It was swamp gas.
that around the landfill area,
Right.
Because there's a lake back there too that comes off of the creek, that had a cabin or whatever that was all burnt down, and like it was just the basement, whatever. It was like rubble and
I get it, yeah.
yeah. That they said something was big was living out there, and then they have these big footprints that they had casts of and whatnot, which I would like to get my hands on. I'd like to see those.
Yeah.
By the way,
at
if you're in the
least-
area,
it does actually go a good long way to have physical evidence.
right? If you're in
So-
the area, it would be really cool if you're like, oh yeah, no, I got those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for any of you guys out there who actually have those casts, send them our way.
Please do, or at least
Check
pictures.
them out. Hell, we'll put them on the show.
Yeah.
Right? We'll put them in our new
We'll put
museum.
you on the show. Let's go.
Did
in
you
our
just?
museum.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was a lot of things happening all at once. My brain can't handle that. Did we just say that whoever has casts, we're going to put them in a museum?
Yes.
The people or
Yes.
the casts?
The cast.
No, the
Oh,
people. No, they
okay.
have to stand there with the casts.
Just stand there and hold it like
Yeah,
Hold it. We
Vanna
can't afford
White.
mannequins.
Hey,
like
hey.
Vanna White this shit.
In all fairness, we're not taking the casts away from you.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah. You just
We're
have to
just
stay-
taking your freedom.
just have to- well, no, because you get 3 hots and a cot. But only when we say.
So it's prison.
I don't like the term prison, but yeah, it's a little harsh.
All right.
Anyway,
So-
anyways.
please, sorry.
So when we were talking about this stuff, like people were, like I said, were coming up and saying, "Oh, it was just this, or it was just that," and a lot of people were other was talking like, "Oh, I remember that. I didn't, wasn't living on that side of town." It was like, "Do you know anybody that did?" Like, "Oh yeah, my grandfather would take a gun with him to the when he was outside, because they lived on that side of town that was." Literally big stretches of open country, and then you had the landfill.
Right.
And they, like, he wouldn't go out without a gun. He wouldn't go out to the landfill without a gun, without having the rifle in the vehicle.
Sorry, you keep saying. Yeah, I know what it is. I know where it's at, as you say,
Yeah.
like the landfill, because I remember where geographically it is in Alexandria. But all I'm picturing is the heap of trash in the trash compactor from Star Wars. When you keep saying landfill and then the creek, I keep picturing.
I
the
keep calling it a
Dianoga.
crick too.
You
That's
do.
what-
You really do.
absolutely
It's-
do.
I wasn't
You're
going to correct
spelling
you.
it CRIK or CK.
Crick.
It's CREE.
But anyways, yeah, it's a funny
kicked
kind
my
of
camera.
anecdotal,
Yeah.
little Dianoga. So, go ahead.
But yeah, the
Go ahead.
There was so when I found out that this little neighborhood of Innisdale, like whoever lived on the edge of it, like would have these stories of not doing things without having firearms with them.
Right. Something was making them afraid.
I found another person whose family member lived there, and they remember being like talking to, and that family member saying, "Yeah, no, I would walk out. There's a big empty field across from me that goes right to the woods,
Right.
and some big hairy thing was in my trash can, eating stuff as I looked out the kitchen window." And by the time that I got out the door with my gun, it was already across the street and down into the thing, heading full steam towards the woods.
That's crazy.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry. I got to thinking about this. I used to have jobs where I got really, really bored, so I looked up a lot of different things, and Bigfoot sightings were one of them.
Right.
I don't recall, and maybe you could illuminate. Have there been any Bigfoot attacks? Like
Bigfoot attacks?
Yeah, has like anybody ever said, "Oh well, my buddy John got beat up by a Bigfoot," or whatever?
In Indiana or in general?
In general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's rumored supposed Bigfoot attacks.
And yes. I don't necessarily need any details. I was just curious.
Yes, there have been reported attacks, whether they're true or not, up for debate. I mean, Bigfoot itself up for debate, but yeah, there have been rumored attacks.
Well, with you saying that, people going out with their guns and everything like that, I was just like, I've always, other than the Jack Leaks beef jerky commercials, I
right.
I just always assumed that Bigfoot was like this gentle fuzzball.
Unless you mess with him, unless you tease him, with
Jack Leaks beef jerky. Right.
Well, no, like in those commercials where they throw giant
for a sponsor.
When you have like the giant rocks come like flying in, or he goes, "Oh!" gets angry, starts throwing stuff.
Yeah,
that literally has happened many, many, many times.
Yeah, a lot of those commercials were actually based off the Bigfoot rumors.
Oh,
yeah, where like people would be hit in the head or other parts with giant rocks that were just thrown from nowhere out in the middle of the woods.
Yep.
Oh,
now, me personally, if I'm Bigfoot. Okay, and I'm of course attributing human quality to Bigfoot, but at the same time, if I'm Bigfoot and I go and I'm rummaging through your trash can to look for a meal, and all I hear is a shotgun cocking every single time I do it, I'd be a little paranoid too. I wouldn't come around people.
I mean, yeah, a noise that you don't know.
Right. Well, or you do know. Maybe you do.
Yeah. Maybe you do.
My cat knows what the cocking of a weapon sounds like, so
no,
every time it happens, she darts off and runs away.
She doesn't know what the cocking of a weapon sounds like. What she knows is that's a weird noise. Leave.
No, when a round goes through the bed.
Never happened. That is hyperbole. That is slander. Technically, if you put this in print, it will be libel, so don't do that.
And the fact is that no one ever mentioned anyone doing that.
No, not at all. Never happened.
Somebody seems like they feel, or it seems like somebody feels guilty about something.
Is it hot in here? I feel like I'm under the lights.
Anyhow,
so go ahead, Chris.
Please. Sorry for the derailment.
So I started finding these stories about people like in the area. I made the mention to my own mother, who she was in the house that they had purchased that I grew up in.
Right.
Years and years and years before, like she actually rented one of the apartments that were upstairs in the house.
Right.
That was the first one, like her and my dad, like the first apartment they moved into. Which I thought it was cool that they actually bought the house, or she bought the house that,
Is that the one that you were living in when I first met you?
Probably.
I think so.
That's the one you were conceived in.
No, I was actually, that was somewhere else. But,
okay.
But no, this
is a family show.
But she was telling, I said, well, I'm hearing all these stories and this, that, and the other. She goes, yeah, I remember when that happened. She goes, I was actually in the upstairs apartment that, next to the one that you were renting, from us.
That's
and I was
crazy.
Like, okay. I was like, that's cool. I said, she goes, no, like one night I got home from work and was doing stuff, whatever. And I heard something like scratching or whatever at the window. And the next day, there was a handprint 4 times as big as my hand on the upper side of the outside window.
Wow.
Like something had reached up 2.5 stories because it sits up above. Like there's the basement sticks up a little bit. So like up that high and on the top glass. And these are like 70s windows, so they don't fold in and you clean it or whatever. Like you would have to literally climb outside to do that.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wish I would have taken a picture, but the cameras back then wouldn't have really done anything.
Well, he would have had to hold still for like 35 minutes.
No, of the handprint, dingus.
But she said it was a big, greasy handprint. It was just like 4 times bigger than her hand.
Called him greasy.
Dude, he probably doesn't have a bath.
That's
or toilet paper.
But he does dig through trash, apparently. So.
Yeah. But so
that's
like,
crazy.
You know, she's like, that was her experience. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'll put that in with the files of stuff.
See,
that, you know, my own family members had experiences with it. She goes, I didn't know what it was. Like, we knew like there was a Bigfoot story and people were calling it this other name or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I find out that it was a couple, like they were kids at the time, that were telling stories, and a guy from Tennessee or whatever brought a name with him from Tennessee called the Whistling Jack, and that's what he started calling the Bigfoot that people were seeing, or the creature that people were seeing. So you got
the
stuck.
Whistling Jack.
He got stuck being called the Whistling Jack.
The Whistling Jack because it would whistle. It makes a noise, at least a noise like it's whistling.
Well, I have no idea.
So no, that's actually if we
were to Google search this, we should probably look up Whistling Jack, Alexandria, Indiana.
Yeah, you will actually come across a website called paranormalfiles.org.
Nice. All right. I'll check that out.
My article is up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shameless self-promotion. Oh my God, you almost had us.
This entire thing. That's what that was all about.
But no, it's not really talked about a whole lot because the town likes to shut things down that isn't.
Because most small towns do.
Well, it was known as
the Aladdin building.
Right.
Like, let's not even get into that.
It was
the Aladdin building.
Well, we need
to talk about a whole other show.
A different show. Yeah, that's a full show.
Cool.
That's a full hour.
Right.
We can talk about that.
No, I'm sorry. My mind went a completely different way when you said something about your mom. Because I honestly thought you were going to tell me that, or tell us that when you talked to your mom about it, she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I was the one that saw it and called the police. I was the crazy lady in the car."
So. To wind this into what we do now, like modern day.
Yeah, sure.
To wind it into Topher the paranormal hobo.
Right. All this stuff has kind of been going on. People have been saying that there's stuff. There was a lady that broached the comment, and this is why not a lot of people get involved or make these claims anymore.
Right.
She said that there was a dog-like thing that was 6 to 8 feet tall.
It was a Wookiee.
Standing outside of the manor, like in the woods behind the manor, that ran her kids off.
In
Alexandria.
Okay.
That they come running in saying that they saw it, yada, 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 and they were scared. Her and a couple other people went out and seen it as it took off. And all of this stuff, and she was like asking questions. A couple people had like confirmed that there's stories about a dog-like thing in that side of town, which is exact opposite side of town, but the town's only 1.5 miles wide.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a small town.
Yeah.
So, 5,000 people, literally. I mean, it's not very big.
Yeah.
So you get this, and then she's made fun of. Picked on.
Oh yeah,
like to the point where when we finally come across the thing and was like, "Hey, we would like to talk." She's like, "I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah,
like it was dumb, and like she actually deleted all of her stuff and all this thing, and it's just like sad.
It's sad, yeah,
because how many people actually have had these experiences too
that don't want to talk about it?
Which is, and it's a shame too, because there are many different places, and you took a Bigfoot tour, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, see, there are places that actually have literally turned it into a tourist attraction. Hey, we've had 37 sightings of Bigfoot here on this spot alone. So,
Right, and that's what I was joking about with. I was talking to the Flatwoods Monster Museum guy when I was
and
there.
that's a Bigfoot.
No.
No, that's like an alien.
Yeah, the Flatwoods Monster's an alien.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like the Jersey Devil kind of thing,
No,
which
alien.
is a demon.
Kind of, yeah,
supposedly.
something.
No. I'm saying it's different than a Bigfoot like the Jersey Devil.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
yeah, different
yes. My
references.
mistake.
No, I'm
Yeah.
tracking. Go ahead.
No, they're cryptid. Different.
Yeah, there you go. Cryptids. That's perfect. Jeff's like, what?
No, Jeff's not like, what?
Quit
'Cause,
using words.
Again, I listen to creepy pastas. I know what cryptids are.
So
I don't study anything, but I listen.
Fair enough.
But so here we are with like this happens modern day. 2 weeks before that thing hit the paper, or not paper, but hit the community board on Facebook.
The black Flatwoods Monster.
No, the thing behind the manor, the dog.
Oh, the Bigfoot.
The
dog
thing. Yes.
Dog boy. Gotcha.
I am driving I went and dropped my son off at work in Elwood, and I'm driving past the same exact area. The same exact area that the original sighting that got called into the police happened. And there's a bridge, and standing on it was something, or standing off to the edge, like behind it, where he's like sticking up out from beside the bridge.
Yeah.
Is this big hairy thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, I literally, like, I drive past and look at it. I stop, throw the Tahoe in reverse, back up, past it, look at it, blink a couple times, and then reach for my phone, not to take a picture, because I'm not even thinking picture at this time.
Sure.
I'm calling my buddy going, hey, is there bears in Indiana?
Right.
Like, literally, that was my only thought, was like, and it moved off. Through the woods, down, following the water.
The answer to that is I don't even think they have bears in the zoo
And
in
they're like,
Indianapolis. They do?
Yeah.
and he was like, no, there's bears in southern Indiana,
Yeah.
like one
So
or
there's
two,
bears
and then
in
there's
Indiana.
like in like northern, like
But they're
northern
smaller
Indiana.
bears.
Yeah, like little brown bears.
Yeah. They're still big enough to take your arm off.
Well, yeah. But-
Not my arm. Not my right arm. I work that thing out all the time.
So
Demonetized.
So I'm just sitting here, dumb, like, watch it walk off. I'm on the phone with him. He's like, take a picture. I was like, oh yeah.
I
like,
can
he's
do
already
that.
gone.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, come pick me up. So I go pick him up. We drive right back to the location, park, and I get out and actually look where he was standing. It's 10 foot just to the top of the road.
Yeah.
Like down to where next to the water.
Did you
Like,
see any footprints?
It was hard as a rock. Like, it was like cold.
Oh, okay.
So, like, nothing. I didn't see any. And it was also like 2:00 in the morning. So we're like out there like with morons with like flashlights, and I'm driving the entire area with like this huge spotlight thing, and I'm like, we're going like all of the roads that we can get, and like spotlighting, like trying to get in there and see if there was anything in there, and trying to do whatever. We spent like hours just driving and driving and driving.
That's crazy.
And like I said, and then 2 weeks later, there's this claim on
for the manor.
on the other side of town.
Right. And you said this was an Ellick, right?
Yeah, and it literally is the same waterway.
That the creature.
Well, I mean,
lived in.
it connects to the same waterway because this Lily Creek that comes off, and then like right over there is Pipe Creek, and you can take Pipe Creek up and follow it around the manor,
Right.
and stay out of town.
Shout out Pipe Creek Radio.
You know what I bet
they
it
don't
is?
exist no more.
You know what I bet it is? I bet it's the mayor. That's why he can hide it. He shuts everything down.
Scooby
So
Doo.
it's not so he's a werewolf.
Where?
There.
Werewolf?
All right, so
Their wolf. Their
all right,
castle.
so we have all of these crazy sightings of Bigfoot, werewolves, vampires, ghosts, ghouls, goblins, cryptids, aliens, UFOs, buzzing Navy ships in the open waters,
Shadow Men.
shadow men,
I actually
all
had one
kinds
of,
of
those
stuff.
a couple of years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I swear to God, it has been, and I don't know if it's just the advent of technology as it's
Skinwalker
progressed.
Ranch.
Yeah, as it's progressed, have we just become more aware of our surroundings because we're constantly on a film mode? I happen to think the doors of the paranormal got thrown open back in 2011. Hey, thanks for checking out this clip of the Sunday Night Madness podcast. Make sure to click that like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell to get updated with all the latest content from the show. If you like what we do here, consider becoming a member of geekpublicradio.com to get early access to the shows and much more. As always, stay geeky.